Hey guys, it's Lazy, and imagine this, you are tanking the toughest mode in PoE 2, everything around you just die. Sound impossible, right? I think we have finally cracked the code with this Ritualist build. It is tanky, borderline Immortal setup that make clearing Simulacrum 4 a breeze. But it gets even better. This build, when you set it up correctly, lets you AFK in the game hardest mode. Just look at this number, my HP is bouncing back and forth, and I'm standing in the middle of all these mobs AFK. Well, you might be wondering, how is it possible, right? Well, I'm going to show you everything I know about this build. Remember when I kinda hinted this at the leak start? There's a special ascendancy note that turned this build into an absolute tank, and trust me, you want to watch this all the way to set up all the defensive layer properly. If you're curious about how this all works, stick around and I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this build in particular and how to set it up so that you can AFK in Simulacrum 4, so let's dive in. We'll start from the beginning, which is when I first spotted a bunch of Ritualists on PoE Ninja using Defiance of Destiny, and they all focusing on high HP. I knew that this was somewhat going to be an AFK build. A lot of my ideas come from PoE Ninja, but I believe my tweaks have made this a much cheaper variant. Keep in mind though that this is going to be a very expensive build still. If you really want to push it to the maximum endgame, there is like crazy expensive stuff that you can put into the build. Anyway, it is really meant for people like me who are a little bit bored with the endgame and are looking to try something new. Well, for example, if I can AFK in Simulacrum, I can probably play Last Epoch while playing PoE 2, right? Anyway, let's dive into the build. So, this build is all about optimizations, and your only source of damage is going to be Corrupted Blood. The first source of Corrupted Blood will come from our ascendancies, which is Blood Boil, and the skills will deal 2% of slain enemies maximum life as physical damage per second to nearby non-unique enemies. So this is only for non-unique enemies, which means that you are only using this to clear the normal monster, magic, and rare monster. When they die, they will spread corrupted blood to the others, and slowly you will kill everything around you. So on top of that, if we want to deal with the unique monster, we are using Bloodbarrier, which deals 50% of your maximum life as physical damage per second when we block. This pairs pretty well with our build since we want to scale for maximum life anyway, and with Defiance of Destiny restoring life before each hit, it will help us a ton. To stack life, we will stack strength. This build will focus on stacking strength and life and block, dealing damage through corrupted blood, leveraging Wildwood Persistent for massive recoups. We have rings, we have all those things. And the only time that we might die when we are playing this build is when we get hit by a big enough hit to one-shot us before we regenerate enough life. Given the zero tick rate is about 0.03 seconds, this rarely happens. If it does, you are probably not tanky enough. But anyway, let's go over into the details of the gearing, skills, and passives, and everything you need to know about this build. Let's talk about our skill gem first, and I think this is like the most interesting part because technically you don't need any of these skills on your skill bar at all. You don't need any of these skill gems. All of them are not needed. This is a fully AFK build. Bloodbarrier is a debuff that gives Bloodbarrier effect to the enemy. Whenever they die, they will give Corrupted Blood, and we can also inflict Corrupted Blood passively with the Bloodbarrier when you block enemy, and we have cap block at 75%. I'll talk a bit more on that later. So, technically, you don't need any of these skills. But Blood Boil, you want to have Acrimony first. This one make it so the enemies affected by our boil will have reduced life regenerations, and I have run into the problem when you are fighting a monster that have life regens and your Corrupted Blood don't do enough damage. And therefore, and he's not attacking you, so you have to do like the weaker versions of Corrupted Blood from Seismic Cry, and you just can't kill him because he life regen more than you can do damage to him. So this is pretty important. If you do run into those life regen pack, this will help you kill them. Brutality, more damage linked to the blood ball, which deal physical damage. Physical mastery give more levels. Persistent increase the skill effect duration, which means that the corrupted blood and the boil will last longer. And because they last longer, Swift Affliction is just going to be a 30% more damage. Overtime multiplier, it's a good damage multiplier when you pair it with resistance. If you don't think you meet the extra damage and you want it to do better AoE, you can swap Magnifying Effect instead of Physical Mastery. I have kind of tested out. I don't think we need Magnifying Effect. But if you want to maybe do map, you want to do Ritual AFK, you can run this with Magnifying Effect. The next skills that we will talk about is Leap Slam. And we have Holy Descent. And this one gives consecrated ground when you land on the ground. Martial Temple to make the animation faster. And we have Sapphires to increase the area of effect of that ground surface we created, which is anytime that we do a Leaf Slam, we will create a consecrated ground, give you life regenerations. Again, it's only, maybe it's useful for like 2-3 seconds when you are ramping up your recoup because the monster are hitting you, but it's not going to help you like survive against a hit if you are going to die anyway. So yeah, it's just there. Seismic Cry is, we use it to inflict the corrupted blood on the enemy around us to help a little bit if they are not hitting you and they are not getting corrupted blood when you are blocking their attack. So we are using Corrupting Cry, Ingenuity, and Life Tap. Shouldn't really matter too much. I am using Armor Breaker. And this one, I'm using Heavy Swing for a bit more damage. I'm using Unyielding. So we have a bit of a recoup added when we are using this. Mostly I use this to fight boss and Demolisher. So the skill break more armor. Whenever you are inflicting corrupting blood on the boss and you are breaking the armor, you would do more damage because corrupted blood is physical damage. So it helps a little bit. Stampede is just kind of there to help you move around faster. A lot of these skills are optionals, and there are a few variants that use Enfeeble Curse, that have Lightning Warp to cull the enemy and create shock round. I think all of those variants are pretty good. For the sole purpose of AFKing in Simulacrum, this is going to be my setups. I don't think I want to overcomplicate it because I'm going to AFK anyway. So yeah. First of all, my gear is nowhere near perfect. And second of all, I'm not even sure that this is going to be the best setup for this build anyway. So I'm going to present this as my variant of the build. And I try to keep the budget as small as I can. It is still a very expensive build. I'm trying this as a MVP version of the build, which is like trying to have a minimum viable build for you guys. So non-negotiable items on the build. First of all, you need to have the Bloodbarrier. And on this Bloodbarrier, you can see here, I have perfect block chance. You absolutely don't need this. In my particular setups, you can get a 20% block chance. And as long as you have cap chaos resistance and other stuff like that, it's fine. The main thing that you want to have on your shield is going to be 2 of these rune sockets, because you want to have 4% increase maximum life. I briefly mentioned before, we are stacking life because we inflict corrupted blood on block, and it deals 50% of our maximum life, which means that the corrupted blood inflict from the shields scale with your HP, and the more life you have, the more damage you will do to the boss, to the enemies around you whenever you block. So it's very important that you get the shields to rune sockets. You don't care about block chance. In my setups, you will cap your block chance no matter what role you have on the block chance. The second item, which is extremely expensive, is going to be Defiance of Destiny. And I briefly mentioned this before, but the most important thing on this role is going to be recover 10% missing life before being hit by an enemy. And because you can use life modifier, the catalyst, to scale this up, you will go up to recover 12% of missing life. And obviously the best role is going to get 10% increased maximum life as well, but it is extremely expensive. And again, I'm trying to showcase you can actually do this on a 6%, so if I can do it, maybe you can. We are going to allocate pliable flesh, which is going to give you increased speed of recoups. And because our main defensive player is going to be Recoup, we want to stack as much damage taken recoup as life as possible. The increased speed of recoup is pretty good as well, but I think it's not that important. I'll need to do a bit more testing on this. For the other slot, we have Kaom's Heart, and this one just gives you a massive amount of life. Like if I take this off right now, you can see I go from 4300 to 58, 55 life. Again, massive amount of life. And this is the best roll that you can get. Really, you don't really have to do anything besides getting this with 3 rune sockets, so you can put in the rune that give you 2% increased maximum life. The next one I want to talk about is going to be the belt. And there are several ways that people play this. Some people use the belt that recoup your mana, 50% of damage taken recoup as mana, and they take Might of a Matter. I think it's a pretty good way to go, but I'll talk a bit more on why I don't like that. But Ingenuity is just really good. It increased the bonus gain from your ring. It was obviously nerfed. It's still very good on Ritualist, which means that I can use ring like this that give a lot of life, a lot of maximum mana, strength, chaos, resistance, and even evasion rating as well. I'll explain all that. But for this ring, it's just getting massively buffed with Ingenuity and our passive, and we also get another slot of rings. And all of these just pair really well together. For the weapons, we are using Hammer of Fate. And this is the idea I got from PoE Ninja. All those guys are using this, and I think for good reason as well. Because we don't really do damage from our build. So the gain a random shrine buff is actually very useful for us. You want to get one with 3 rune sockets so you can put more strength into the build. And the random shrine, sometimes it gives you the massive shrine that buff your character, make your character bigger, and my HP go all the way to 8k HP. And because this one deals 50% of your maximum life as corrupted blood whenever you block, so that's really good. And for the other piece of gear, I'm looking for an armor based helmet. Armor, like really high armor, so I'm stacking a lot of armor. I'm stacking a lot of strength on the build as much as I can. I have 0 movement speed on this boots because again I'm stacking life, I'm stacking mana. I have some rarity, I have strength, resistance, and just armor. So my armor is 62% in here. So we block a lot of physical damage reductions. But I'll show you that later. It doesn't really matter at this point because I do run into the packs that have in Simulacrum. You run into packs that have the armor breaker, so they break all your armors. Like my armor literally go to 0 and I still tank a lot of stuff. So I'm not even sure armor is that good. Like I feel like if I drop armor, I can have a lot more options. So I will play with that later. On all these piece of gear, you can use the valve on them. If you get another socket, it's great. You have 2% more maximum life per socket. So I'll try to valve some of my items later. But very basic, just maximum life, armor, and armor strength and resistance. Obviously you want to build an AFK build, you want to have all your resistance overcapped. That way even when you run into monster pack that had elemental weakness, you will still have cap resistance, so I'll work on fixing my fire resistance for that reason. My chaos is obviously capped. Ideally, for the ingenuity belt, you want to hit 3 champ slot, but it's very expensive, like 20 divine plus if you want to get a good rolls and 3 champ slot. But 2 champ slot is fine, and I find that the most important thing here is getting the Forsaken Bangle. The roll on this doesn't really matter, and it is quite cheap. Even if I put out this video, I believe it's still going to be cheap, and it's pretty common as well. But 50% of chaos damage prevents when hits recoup as life and mana. This is going to save your life when you run into monster pack that have the trees that drop the chaos orb, because they hits for a lot of damage. The only weak part about this build, I would say, is chaos damage, and if you do run into those trees, I feel like if you don't have enough tankiness stat, like maybe I need 1,000 more HP to be able to tank those, but I can still die from tanking a bunch of them because we don't recoup fast enough, or maybe they do a lot of damage. And like I explained before, the server tick rate is 0.03 seconds, so if I do just get hit, if the hit is big enough to hit me during those downtime, then I will just fall over and die. The other charm is going to be the Black Cat, and it's used when you're shocked. I think this is less important. Lighting damage enemies hitting you is unlucky, so just help a bit when you become shocked. This one is going to be the 3rd charm I will use, because it creates Consecrated Ground when you're bleeding. Again, it's not that important actually. I feel like you just get a 2 champ slot and just ignore this. Consecrated Ground is really useful. You can also get it from the Leap Slam as well. And so yeah, this is for my mana flask. I don't think you kind of need this. The reason why I use this, okay, so let me explain this. Let's see how I can explain this. Because I'm using mana recoup as well. I have my passive skill trees, which have recoup. So yeah, let's just talk about the passive skill trees real quick. And let's start with the Ascendancy first. So the Ascendancy is pretty straightforward. We are going to need Blood Boil as the first Ascendancies. It is one of the best way for us to clear because it gives AoE, Corrupted Blood, and it just help clear a lot faster. We have Wildwood Persistence. This one, amazing note. It increased life recovery rate per 5% missing unreserved life, and it can scale with Recoup. It helps when you get... So it just helps. I think none of the Ascendancies would actually be able to increase the Recoup to be that high, and it just... Everything just worked together to make this a really tanky build, and even when you are running into packs that reduce your life below half, you would still be able to tank a lot of the hits because of this, and Defiance of Destiny and all that stuff. Unfurled Finger is amazing. We are using Kaoms, so we had 0 spirits. We don't need any aura in this build. So this downside is just for free. We get 1 ring slot, and we have increased attribute with stacking shrink. That's pretty good. And we get Mystic Attunement, which increases the bonus we get from equipped rings and amulets. For the passive skill trees, and I'll go over the jewels as well. The first jewels is going to be From Nothing with Necromantic Talisman, and I hope this one will stay cheap. I saw a lot of them on the market, but Necromantic Talisman is pretty good. It gives us access to all these recoup node over here. So, damage taken recoup as life and mana. We are using mana to tank some of our damage. Damage taken recoup as life. Life here, we have damage taken recoup as mana. Damage taken from mana before life. So 4, that's 8%. And I'm taking this beast node as well. So that is going to be almost 18%. And the reason why I'm not taking the damage taken as mana Mind Over Matter is because Mind Over Matter requires you to take full damage to your mana before you can take damage to your life. And you don't really have a lot of mana to begin with. So in my opinion, it is much better to have this Their second for mana before life scale to 18%. As long as you have your mana, it is going to be a straight up 18% DR for your life pool, and this is going to work much better because we can work for both recouping our mana and life at the same times. Alright, so for the other nodes, we are taking strength over here. We are going down here and take polymathy because we're stacking strength. We are taking iron reflex to convert all the evasion to armor. We are taking a bunch of evasions from our armor on the glove. So if I get a better armor over here, I'll get a bunch of evasions, which all get converted into armor, which going to give us a bunch of armor. I'm not sure if this is going to be the final versions because, as I mentioned before, armor is actually not that important in this build. And when I run into the pack that reduce my armor to 0, I can survive, which means that maybe I don't need armor at all and I can drop all these points and look for other unique options and things like that. But yeah, we are taking Glancing Blow because we want to cap our block. And with this tree, you take a block here, and then you take all the block node over here, and you don't need a shields that have 30% block chance anymore because you will cap with a 20% increased block chance shields. The rest of the nodes, I'm actually missing a few jewels. Yeah, so one of these jewels I'm using to have Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on you, and I have Devastating Recoup as live on here. So for the expensive version of this build, you want to stack Grand Spectrum jewels, which give more maximum life, but it is very expensive. They are like 8 divine a pop, so if you have money, go for them. It's the best options, but at least get 1 jewels like this so you don't get inflicted with Corrupted Blood. For the rest of the jewels I'm using, I have this one right here, give me increased armor, increased skill effect duration, increase global physical damage, which helps a little bit, increase armor, increase life regeneration rate. I don't think that's going to be that important. But this one right here, same thing, skill effect duration, armor, global physical damage. I think those 3 are the most important. Same thing over here, armor, global physical damage, skill effect durations. And I think that's about it, covering everything I want to cover. We have some life recoup notes over here. This is a very high level trees, and in the written guide, I'll talk about some of the notes that you can take off. But let me quickly showcase Simulacrum 4, the level 15 AFK, for you to see how this build perform. You can kind of see here that the monster have the break armors equal to 50% of damage though, which means that I'm going through this whole wave 15 with 0 armor, even when I'm fighting boss, because I'll have 0 armor, monster have increased monster damage, so it's quite rippy. The only thing that's going to probably kill this character is going to be the Chaos Flower Plants combo with like the monster that make your HP goes to half. And maybe then we don't have enough tankiness to tank this, so I wouldn't say this is 100% success rate for tanking Simulacrum 4, especially if you do run into those rippy mods. You are going to have to do some limit testing on what you can and what you cannot tank. But mods like critical damage, monster damage, and the generic damage type shouldn't be a problem. The only problem is when you're seeing monster with the modifiers that can actually kill you, 50% half your life, flower plants, and you don't have your charm up. You have to do some dodge rolling around and stuff like that. You can kind of see that all the monsters have already died, and I'm passively killing the boss. You can use Armor Breaker on the boss to help you do damage faster. You can use Corrupting Cry to inflict Corrupted Blood on the boss when he's not attacking you. If the boss is attacking you, you would just let him attack you and you would be dealing a better Corrupted Blood because it dealt damage based on your maximum life instead. So yeah, you can kind of see this is how you AFK in a Simulacrum 4, and I will provide a link to the POV of my characters so you can compare. And I will put a written guide in the description of this video and in the comment sections. And with that, thank you so much for watching. This has been a really fun character to build, and I will see you guys in the next video.